The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. The Center for Autism and Related Disorders advises working with a board-certified behavior analyst who has experience with autism before starting any intensive behavioral intervention. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
Good morning and welcome to a very special edition of Autism Live. We are here on a Friday when we're typically not here because we have a very special guest. Miss Holly Robinson Peete is here with us in the studio, and I'm all a Twitter about it. We were just talking about Twitter.
We were.
Right now you have the opportunity to be talking to us both through the live feature on our homepage, but you can be talking to us on Twitter as well. In fact, we're going to have Emily cycle through all of the different ways that you can get in touch with us here because the show is live. We intend for it to always be interactive, and there is no better day for us to be interactive. So definitely check in on those different sites. I'll remind you that if you go to our homepage, autism-live.com, you can be watching the live show or a recently recorded show, and the box next to it is the live feature. Put your cursor there. You can type away, hit enter, and it shows up here. There's no login. It's totally free, and it's almost instantaneous. There's a little bit of a lag, but we will be checking in on Twitter as well. Holly's going to help me out to understand more of how to use Twitter because you are so good at Twitter.
You sound like you know a lot more than you're letting on.
No,
everything you just said went over my head.
Well, I'll reveal my ineptitude any moment now. But in any case, there's a really good reason why we want you to be using Twitter today, and that's because you see that I have this lovely box here on the desk. I'm actually going to move it in front of me so you can see. And I also have the tablet out of the box too. This is a Nabi tablet, and these are amazing. I really, really love these. They're made for our kids. It says on the box 4 to 40. I think they're cheating us a little bit. I'm well over 40 and I love it.
Yeah, and I think even younger than 4 too.
I agree. Mm-hmm. They need to expand that number. It sounds good though, 4 to 40. Mm-hmm. But this is an amazing, amazing tool for all of our kids. But in particular, they have a division at Nabi that's called Inspire. And these tablets are coming to us directly from their Inspire division, which means that they're already preloaded with 24 apps that are great for autism. So this is an amazing tool for any child, but I know for our autism families it's great, and we're going to give 2 of these away. Yay! Which is amazing. We want to thank the Nabi people for doing that. But how you are going to enter to win one of these fabulous tablets is you're going to go to Twitter, and there are 3. You have to do the @ symbols. What do we call that? 3 handles?
The hashtags?
They're because they have to shout out to us. So you'd have to do @ Nabi tablet.
Right, NABI.
Tablet.
Right.
And then you have to do @HollyRod FDN.
Right.
And you also have to do @Autism Live Show.
That's a lot of @.
It's a lot of @. If you want to know where to find all those things in print, you can go to our Facebook page, Autism Live, and it's all listed there for you. And you must do those 3 @s, and then you must answer the question, how can your child benefit from a Nabi tablet?
That's if you have any more characters left after you do all those @.
Because is that included in the characters?
Yeah.
So it's going to have to be short.
It's got to be concise.
Yes, short and to
compelling.
the point. And compelling.
Yeah.
And then we will pick 2 of those to receive the Nabi tablet. And that will be after the hour. You've got all this time during the hour to be tweeting away, and you can do it more than once. So if you want to get more things in there, again, I don't...
Yeah, you could absolutely continue on. If you weren't able to get your thoughts in one tweet, keep tweeting.
Keep tweeting. All right, so that's what's new about the Nabi tablet and how you can win. We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now, so it's here. The day is here. But thank you for being here. Let's start there.
I don't know why I don't come here more often. First of all, I live in the neighborhood, and every time I drive past you guys to take my son to school, I think about you all and how much fun it is just to chill with you. So this is fun for me.
The door is open whenever you want to come. You can come. You want to do your own hour? We'll set aside an hour for you. I know you're busy.
No, the opposite. Because I'll be like at your door talking about Shannon.
Right here.
Let
Right
me
here.
in.
The door is completely open. I'll make a key for you so that you can come in whenever you want.
Thank you.
So thrilled to have you. And you know I'm a huge fan of yours and have
and
been
likewise.
forever. And if there's anybody watching who is not familiar with this amazing woman, I'm glad that we can introduce. I can't believe that that's true, but you know that she is a wonderful actress. You are an amazing advocate. You're an award-winning author. I'm getting, as J-Lo would say, I'm getting goosies, right? I'm getting goosies because, and I also, I don't know if I've ever said this to you, but you've been a little bit of a touchstone for me. Now I'm going to get emotional. But
I'm wearing Access Hollywood Live lashes.
Yes.
So don't start getting me.
You've come directly
Not
from
that
the
I wasn't
set
going to dress up for you guys, but I do have TV, like high-def TV lashes on, so
But
just
and
so
you
you all
look
know.
lovely.
So don't make me cry, but go ahead.
Okay, so you know, you were always somebody I watched when you were on 21 Gem Street. I watched when you were on Hanging with Mr. Cooper, and I just always thought, oh my gosh, you know, you're that rare breed, beautiful actress, very talented actress, but also you radiate good person,
Aw.
right? Which is a wonderful thing. But I didn't know anything about your private life, and then of course we all got to see when your husband proposed to you on the set of
yeah.
Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Wasn't that cool?
Well, I'm sorry to any woman that's like the most
It was the
romantic thing.
To this day, I put it on when he makes me mad.
Oh, really?
Because I try to channel back to those days in the 90s when he did that amazing thing, because now, you know, 18 years later,
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, get down. But no, that was probably, and I'm not saying this because it was my man that did it, but that's probably one of the most romantic proposals of all time. In case you didn't know, he showed up on Hang with Mr. Cooper's set.
Yes.
And surprised me.
And it was on every news outlet. Every single woman in the world looked at that and went, oh, it was the
yeah,
thing that
it
you
was pretty
dreamed
awesome.
would happen to you, right?
It was a fairy tale inside a dream.
Right, and then of course, you know, our viewers know that I am one of Oprah's biggest fans. I'm addicted to Oprah. In fact, my son, who was nonverbal at one point, not the first sentence he said, but probably within the first 50 sentences he said was, "Oprah is mommy's fairy godmother," right? Because anytime I needed something in my single years, and even when I was married and then had a child with autism, I could turn Oprah on and she had something for me.
That you could
she was
take
my
away.
fairy godmother.
Yeah.
And so I watched when they were talking about you were pregnant with the twins, and they were talking about your nursery.
I've called her that many times too.
Fairy
my
godmother?
Fairy godmother, yeah, because for a long period of time she chronicled our lives, and we did work with her a little bit. We did a radio show on the Oprah radio called Meet the Peets, and so Rodney and I did that together. But yeah, she has been a pretty awesome person in my life and someone who I really cherish.
And so I saw you on her show and I got to know more about your personal life. And for me, my sister had twins, and in my family, having twins is the ultimate. As a woman, you have done it. When you're pregnant with twins and deliver twins, that's it. You've done an amazing thing, and you get to win all the motherhood things. So I looked at you and I was like, look at who this woman is. And then of course I fell off the everything for a while because my child was diagnosed with autism, and we were probably 6 months in, and my child had been diagnosed. We'd already started therapies. But I was having the pity party.
Oh, sure.
Like, why me? Why did this happen to me?
Stage one.
And I turn on my fairy godmother, and who is there on her show?
Wow.
You are there, and you are my, like the ultimate perfect woman, right? Who like has the perfect proposal. You're pregnant with the twins, right? I'm looking at your life and thinking, her life is perfect, and I turn it on, and there you are, saying, this is what happened, this is what I'm doing, this is what you need to know.
Yeah.
And I had that big epiphany of, I need to get up off the couch and stop feeling sorry for myself and join the ranks of people who are getting something done here.
Well, we've known each other for a while, and you've never told me that story.
Well,
and that is really awesome. Why? Because we didn't want to have this conversation nationally. It was a big deal for us to talk about our son. I mean, my dad had Parkinson's, and we started a foundation, and it was a whole thing with my dad. But for my son, my husband was so nervous about stigmatizing him and him being labeled and all that stuff, and we really went back and forth about going on Oprah and having that conversation. And I just kept saying, man, if I knew someone who was talking about this that could help me
Yeah.
And I knew there were families in the Hollywood community that had kids with autism that just weren't having conversations about it. How much hope would that have given me at a time when I felt so bleak and so hopeless, right? So that's why we did it, and we did it for that reason, because I thought if someone's watching, and it's so corny here, if I can just help one person, but it's so true.
Yeah.
It's very cathartic when you're in your own little bubble of space and you branch out, share your story, and then someone hears that you're going through something similar. And it helps. It really makes a difference.
It really did. And to see you going through it, but also to hear what you were saying about how you were languaging it with your child and about your child was so empowering to me. And it really was that cornerstone for me, for all the things that I do. So
what a journey it's been. I mean, so much has changed. It's just my feelings about where I was there then as opposed to now, and all the things I worry about. And we have some similar concerns about our kids and adolescents, and we'll talk about that. But it's just funny to look back and see, sort of what my narrative was then as opposed to now.
Absolutely. Well, let's get right into talking about, here it is, it's 2014, and we have come a long way.
Yeah.
But I want to know from you, at the end of 2013, we were asking everybody, where do you think we need to go? What do you wish for 2014? What do you want to see happen? Sort of the state of where we are and where we need to get to. What are you feeling?
I really do feel that many organizations like Autism Speaks and some other big national autism advocacy organizations, and smaller organizations like HollyRod and the things that you all are doing, and some of us moms and dads, I think we've done a great job at raising awareness, and I think we've done our part. I think where my disappointment lies is there's no national agenda government-wise for us, for our families, and that disturbs me because the prevalence is, as we know, off the charts, and I just don't understand. We're not meeting the call to action. We're not going to the level of prevalence, and it doesn't make sense to me. So that's been a disappointment, and I've tried very hard to sort of lobby, if you will, or reach out to the Obama administration, the White House, and really try to push this forward. And listen, there's a lot of fish to fry out there. Don't we know it, right? I mean, there's so many causes and so many things, but I just think autism is such a misunderstood disorder and such a drain and a strain on families around this country that I would love a more pointed national policy on it and an agenda. So that's where my disappointment is. But we've come a long way. Yeah. So many people know so much more about the spectrum, which is so hard to explain to people if they're not living it. Yeah. So the first thing I knew that I wanted to do was try to take the stigma away and get autism to be a more approachable disorder, so people weren't so scared of it. Because you can't throw money towards or underwrite or fund things that you're scared of or you don't know about. And so I think we've come, so I'm cautiously optimistic about where we've come. I think I mean, when I think about kids that, parents that wouldn't take play dates with my son because they thought autism was contagious, I think we've come a long way. Now that sounds very caveman, right? Very barbaric, but I didn't know much about it either. I had to go to my doctor and go, is it? I mean, I didn't know. Yeah. So I'm very hopeful because I think we've really carved out some good stuff, and we've gotten it out there. But I just want to see more action, and I want to see more services for families. I want to see, where's the St. Jude's for autism? Yeah. Where can families just go get services underwritten for them and don't have to worry about it and not make that choice between rent and ABA? So we have a lot of work to do.
We do have a lot of work to do. I appreciate what you're saying, though, because a lot of times I think we hear from a lot of families from other countries. And just the other day we were talking about the state of autism in the Ukraine with everything going on, and the state of autism in Russia. And I don't want to ever appear to be ungrateful for what we have and how far we've come. But job is not done. It's not even close to being done. There's so much more that needs to be done. And
even in France, Shannon, France is like, I did a junior year abroad in Paris. I mean, France is a developed country, and it's internationally popular, globally. They have so much there, and the way they treat their kids with autism is disgusting.
It's horrible.
They are still doing things in such a barbaric way. They're so behind. They're just in the dark ages when it comes to treating these children. So internationally, there's work to be done as well.
Absolutely. And I don't know about you, but I feel like here in the United States, we need to set the bar.
Yes.
And we need to set it a heck of a lot higher than what we've currently done. But
That's
if
right.
people look to us in a lot of these cases to see what we're doing and the advances that we're making. So
yeah, so if we don't have a national agenda or policy, or there's no real urgency of now when it comes to autism in this country, then other countries look at us, and if we don't, then you're right. We need to set the example.
well, I'm glad that you're on the job, because you are one of the best mouthpieces we have, madam.
Oh, well, thank you. My husband says I have a big mouth and I need to use it for good.
That's right. Well, and I see you doing that on a regular basis. I'd give you an A+.
Thank you so
we're
much.
not expecting you to pull rainbows and miracles out of your ears, but you're doing a great job.
I try. I have a lot on my plate, and got these 4 kids to raise, and still working and doing a bunch of stuff. And I try to autism and HollyRod Foundation is like my 5th child. I've told you that before. So 5 kids, and so it's a full-time job. I mean, it's really a full-time job, which I obviously don't get paid. So it can be very tricky trying to fit it on the plate, but it's not going nowhere. And my family knows that it's not. And so there's always something, and there's always some scenario where I feel like I can fit in and make a difference, and I try to do that.
Well, you're juggling well. We're all learning watching you.
Oh, thank you.
We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to delve into the teen years with Holly, because this is information that I know we all want to know how you're dealing with that, what kinds of things are happening, especially in light of, as we were talking before, some of the things that have happened in the news recently. It's kind of changing how we look at the teen years. So don't go away. Don't forget to be tweeting to us those 3 ats and answering the question, how can your child benefit from using a Nabi tablet? If you have questions about how exactly to do it, you can go to our Facebook page, Autism Live on Facebook, and the instructions are easy and right there on the top of the page. But stick with us, more with Holly Robinson Peete after these messages.
Skills is an online program that provides assessment, curriculum, positive behavior support planning for challenging behavior, and progress tracking, and it does this all in one place. The Skills Assessment and Curriculum addresses 8 areas of development, which even includes advanced higher level areas such as executive functions and cognition, which pretty much makes Skills the only ABA-based set of curricula for teaching more complex skills, things like problem solving, planning, self-management, perspective taking, and even inferring and predicting others' private events. Skills is a 4-step system. Step 1 is to add the child to your account. Step 2 is to start assessment. The Skills Assessment is the only ABA-based assessment with psychometric research demonstrating the language subscale to have excellent reliability. Every area of human functioning and typical child development from infancy to adolescence was researched, making the Skills Assessment the most comprehensive of its kind in the world, and we're quite proud of that.
Skills is easy to use. Simply click Start Assessment and begin answering questions. Or simply type in a keyword, find specific activities to assess, and add activities to treatment. Step 3. Choose activities. Once you've completed the assessment, Skills selects from a pool of 4,000 activities categorized by age, level, and skill type to provide you with exactly those activities each child needs. Start by choosing a curriculum, then a lesson, and finally an activity. Click the information icon to view prerequisites, ages in which targets develop, examples, and IEP goals. Click the video icon to watch a short video. Once you've identified an activity you want to teach, adding activities to treatment is a snap. Step 4. Start treatment. Here you can access customizable activity lesson details, add your own customized targets and exemplars, and edit an activity status such as introducing or mastering it. You can even print handouts such as worksheets, tracking forms, visual aids, and other materials. Skills also offers multiple progress charts mapping curriculum progress, lesson progress, and cumulative number of activities and targets mastered over time. The Skills language curriculum is categorized by verbal behavior type so that users can identify progress for verbal operants, such as echoics, mans, tax, and interverbals.
Skills is one of the only programs that provides the ability to write behavior intervention plans, or BIPs, for challenging behavior.
With just a few clicks, the outline of the behavior intervention plan is written for you and ready to be printed and implemented.
You can learn more about Skills today and get started by visiting us at www.skillsforautism.com, or you can call us at 877-975-4559. Skills. Progress starts here.
Welcome back to this very special edition of Autism Live. Our guest today is Holly Robinson Peete, and she is here with us. We've got her working the Twitter as only she can do.
Yeah.
And I'm holding here a Nabi tablet. These are incredible, incredible tools in the hands of our children. And we're going to be talking a little bit later on in the hour about the work that Holly is doing with the Nabi tablet people. But right now, we're offering you the opportunity to enter to win. We're going to give 2 of these away from this hour. You need to go to Twitter, and there are 3 different @s that you need to type into your Twitter and answer the question, how can your child benefit from using a Nabi tablet? So make sure that you're going to Twitter and answering that. The 3 @s that you want to put are on the screen right now. Emily's giving those to you because we're going to give 2 of these amazing devices away. They are absolutely incredible. I've had so much fun playing with it.
They're so fun. My kids love them.
Yes.
And if you drop them, they don't break.
Yeah,
you can throw that baby
it's
out of a
amazing.
car and it will,
And I will say this too, that if you don't win one of them, these are the most affordable tablets that are out there on the market, and that is so essential for our families. We know that technology, we've been talking about technology all week long on the show and how amazing it is in the hands of our kids and the things that they can do with them, but we're all watching our bottom dollar, right? Well, this is the most affordable tablet that you can get, and because it already comes with this bumper, you're not going to go and drop a bunch more money making it safe to put in your child's hands. And other remarkable features about this that we'll get into in a little while, but make sure that you're entering to win that. Now, Holly is here with us, and we're so thrilled that she's here. And I asked her if we could talk about what it's like being the mother of a teenager. Because
well, there's a teenager, and then there's a teenager with autism.
Exactly.
And I've got twins. I got 2 16-year-olds, so that's fun.
I can't even
My
imagine.
daughter, Ryan, who's amazing and awesome,
amazing.
And such a great advocate for her brother and the family, and she's really pretty amazing. And then there's Rodney, or RJ, we call him sometimes. And, adolescence is something that's so interesting and eventful when you don't have to have autism along with it. But I think what autism has brought to this transition period is just a lot of question marks. We didn't know what to look for. We had people say, look for the shuns. It's aggression, regression, and depression. And all those, make you just want to hang your head, right?
Yeah.
But so that's what we were told to look out for. We were also told to look out for seizure disorder, that it may come. We were so blessed and fortunate that he's not one of the percentage of kids with autism that has seizure disorder. But boy, that's tough. And for the families that are experiencing that, hang in there, because that's really difficult. So we thought, okay, our kid's going to get all these things, and he's going to have seizures. So we've been watching him like a hawk. Anytime the poor boy just, hiccups, I'm just trying to see what's going on with him. But more importantly for me, it's about high school. The stakes are higher now socially. He likes girls. He has no idea how to really process that. Last time I was on the show, I talked about my fears for him with girls and just worrying about the wrong girl hooking up with him. He's a good-looking boy. He has language. He still has that sort of echolalia type of thing going, and so that really makes for awkward times in a high school setting. It's a journey, and just when you get to think, oh, we've crossed this milestone, now we're at this one, and it's so in a way, it feels like we kind of got the diagnosis all over again. Not in the same way that we got it when they were little ones, but you get re-diagnosed with it.
It's interesting because you wrote a great blog for the Huffington Post about autism and adolescence, and with the word kaboom in the title of it, because the two colliding together. And you talked about how at this point you should feel like a veteran, but that this adolescence has kind of put you back to the point where you're having to relearn everything through a new lens.
Yeah, I was a rookie again.
And one of the things that you mentioned in that blog is that there are things that have happened in the news that have changed the way you need to teach your child about the world. And in that particular blog, you were talking about Trayvon Martin.
Right.
But there have been some things that have happened in the last couple of days that have also, we talked about this earlier, that it's changed the way I'm looking at my son and how he interacts with the world. But let's start with talking about the Trayvon Martin first, and then we'll go to the more recent study, because your son likes to wear a hoodie.
He loves to wear hoodies, and he loves to wear, he loves to keep his hands in his pockets.
Yeah.
Just sensorially, that works for him, right?
Yeah.
So I took him to the local police department, and I introduced him, and I just want to cut back on any little mishaps. You know, he loves to walk and go to the local coffee shop or the local bagel shop. That's like, it's part of his freedom.
Yeah.
And I don't want to suppress that. I don't want to be a helicopter mom with him. I am, but I want to be kind of a stealth helicopter mom, you know, the ones that kind of disappear. You know? I don't want to be that one that's all over top of him, because I want him to fit into society, and he needs to be able to do that and make the mistakes on his own. But what the Trayvon thing scared the mess out of me was just the fact that he's a boy who looked suspicious. So we all know that's why the guy got out of the car and pursued him, and we know what happened. And I just worry that my kid, A, is not going to be able to respond to social cues properly if a policeman, if he's in the wrong place at the wrong time, or fits the description of someone wearing a hoodie, or he looks threatening. These are the things that worry me.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly telling him about, you know, pull the hoodie down, or, you know, make sure if you see, if a cop does say something to you, don't bring anything out of your pockets. And it's just sad that we have to say this to our kids, but it's necessary.
It is necessary. And I have to tell you, I have a great video to recommend to you, and I'll hook you up with and have them send you a copy. But our friends Emily Island, they made a movie called Be Safe the Movie. And it's an instructional tool just for our kids on the spectrum, showing them how to react around the police, and they act it out. And all the actors that are playing kids on the spectrum are actual kids on the spectrum.
You got to hook me up with that.
Because
I've been doing
for you.
the homemade Holly version of that.
It really is amazing. And then they take it apart and look at it from different angles.
Right.
And I haven't shown the video to my son yet, but I've talked him through some of the different lessons, because they talk about what happens if the police pull you over and what you're supposed to do, and if the police draw guns, that you don't run. It's an amazing tool, and I'll hook you up with it. But it's called Be Safe the Movie.
Oh, good.
And it's an important tool. I hadn't thought about that, about training my child about what could happen if the police get there, and not to be afraid.
And the reality, though, is that, and what frightened me so much about the Trayvon thing is that this was completely racial profiling. I mean, anybody who argues that it wasn't, is that heard him on the phone and what he was saying to the cops about sort of saying what the guy looked like, and he would look like this and that and the other, and those guys. I mean, clearly that's what that was. And so if you look at my son, he's tall, he's brown, he's got a hoodie, he's walking around, his hands in his pockets, he's got his headphones on, he loves his Beats headphones, right? And so these are all very typical teen things. I mean, similar to the other case that happened in Florida.
More recent case.
Yeah, the more recent case, you know, in Florida, where you know, that the whole situation with the guys in the car playing loud music, a little different, but still, for me, like, if my son is in that car with his friends, and my son loves to play loud hip hop, that's just what he loves to do. That's what I did in high school.
Absolutely.
So these are things that people are getting killed over, and it's not okay. So when you have a kid on the spectrum, you have to go the extra mile to protect him and make sure that he understands the ramifications of certain things.
Absolutely.
And that's hard to teach without making a kid go, God, Mom, like, back off.
Exactly.
You know, so.
That's what my child says. Mom, back off. But I figure I'm unfortunately, I'm deciding to instill fear and then fix that later on.
I'm with you. I'm
MO.
with you. And there was this other case we had just talked about with the young girls who had taken advantage of the 16-year-old boy with autism.
It takes my breath away.
I haven't really been able to process it yet, but I did tell my son, because I'm a real keep it real mom, and I just said, look, you got to Google this, you have to read this whole thing. And I want you to know what they did was really vile, the things they made this boy do, but I want him to know that there are people out there that could try to take advantage of him.
And I was saying to you this morning that one of the most devastating things in all the reports, they're saying that the young man still thinks of those two girls as his friends.
Yes.
And I think that hits every autism mom's heart in a really horrible way.
Yeah. My son has had friends that he's thought that have done not things that bad, but some things, you know, things that were not good,
Yeah.
and asking, taking money or stealing stuff from him or whatever. And he still wants to be and hang out with these guys because he still says they're his friends and they care about him.
Yeah.
So this is a very difficult thing to have to try to monitor and regulate, but you got to do what you got to do.
We do. Now, you mentioned your daughter, and you wrote a beautiful book with her. And I have had the opportunity to meet her. She is a lovely young woman.
She's pretty cool.
You're doing an amazing job. And there's the book, My Brother Charlie. And I was wondering earlier this week, but then I saw online that you, because I was thinking, surely there would be one about teenage years, right? And I see that is in the works.
It is. It'll be out next year.
Okay.
And it's tentatively titled Same But Different. Oh. I'm not sure if that title will stick, but it's really told through the eyes of my twins, of Ryan and my son who has autism, about adolescence and parties and school and family vacations and trips and girls and all kinds of things, puberty. And so it's told in sort of this first-person narrative, which is really interesting. It's never been done before. So the idea is to sort of have a peek of what's going on in our house, and then it's sort of a story of a bunch of families. It's not just us. It's families that we've met, and we sort of brought in all kinds of different things. So it's not completely autobiographical. But it's just, I think, well, there just aren't any books out there about this topic in this way. They're all very textbooky and clinical, and, this might happen and that might happen. So this is a real look at a family's journey through adolescence and autism.
Well, it's great, and you add the cool factor to it too, which is a great thing. Of course,
my kids don't think I have the cool factor.
Well, but you do, and they do. They know you do, but they can't let you know that. That's all about being a teenager,
well,
right?
my goal is I want to make sure that I cover a lot of bases because the old thing, if you met one family dealing with autism, you've just met one family. We all have our different issues, so I wanted to try to incorporate many stories that I've heard, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. So My Brother Charlie was a really sweet book, and I'm so proud of it. This is a little bit more keep it real.
Okay, cool. Well, we love that. We're going to take another short break, and when we come back, we're really going to talk about these Nabis and why Holly has decided to do some work with the Nabi tablet people and what they're helping her to do. It's really incredible. Stick with us.
The Institute for Behavioral Training provides courses in applied behavior analysis for the treatment of autism. Access IBT e-learning videos on the move and learn at your own pace.
I'm going to talk a little bit about intensity.
IBT e-learning makes any location your classroom on the go.
So our objectives for today are to really learn what is autism and how is it diagnosed.
Get professional guidance with IBT face-to-face training. IBT face-to-face training courses prepare you to effectively implement ABA-based interventions. Choose between small group and one-to-one instruction. Earn BCBA supervision hours via one-to-one video conferencing.
So I had a chance to review your BIP today. You know what? It looked really good. You did a good job with it.
IBT continuing education courses. Earn credit through webinars, conferences, article reviews, and e-learning videos. You can learn more at ibehavioraltraining.com. IBT, 360 degrees of ABA training.
Welcome back to Autism Live and this very special episode with one of our favorite people on the planet, Holly Robinson Peete. She's here with us, and I'm holding this lovely red-rimmed tablet because this is a Nabi tablet, and this is something that's really unique on the market, and we're giving 2 of these away during this hour. Make sure that if you need to, go to our Facebook page to see what it is that you have to do. There are very specific instructions. You have to do an to 3 different addresses and answer the question, how can your child benefit from using a Nabi tablet? And we're going to pick 2 from all of those different responses to actually win this tablet that I'm holding in my hand and another that I have tucked away. So we want to thank the Nabi tablet people for giving these to us. And we specifically want to talk about Nabi because you have been working with the Nabi people now. You're partnering with them to some extent. Tell us about why.
Well, they came to us and they were looking for an autism organization to partner with. What happened was Nabi is a new hot company, right? And everyone's loving them. But what they were shocked by was how many families affected by autism reached out to their website and just said, oh, my kid with autism loves this. And that's how they started to understand the great relationship between autism and technology, and how technology is autism's new best friend.
It sure is.
So they got that, and they said, well, we want to partner with you. And I was like, absolutely. So they granted us a tremendous amount of money and funds and just resources. They've been so tremendously awesome for HollyRod. They helped underwrite our My Brother Charlie Carnival. We're going to do more. We're going to expand it to do one in Newtown, Connecticut. We're going to partner with Dylan Hockley Memorial Fund, who Dylan was a young man, one of the young men with autism that lost his life, unfortunately, and his family. And ours, we're going to do a My Brother Charlie Carnival there. We want to do one in all kinds of places, in Philly, my hometown. So we're planning that now. So they really get, Nabi and FUHU, the company, they just really get how important it is for these families to have this technology and to be able to communicate. And so we're giving, as part of our Give the Gift of Voice program, Nabi tablets to families affected by autism, and certainly the ones that are the least verbal and really could use this help. But I love it when corporations have compassion, Shannon, and they have been one of the most compassionate entities and corporations I've seen in a long time.
Wonderful.
They just get it, you know?
Well, and certainly if you hold one of these in your hands, you see how much they get it. And I turned it on and then I didn't do anything. But this is a remarkable thing. I love how the camera on this works. We know there are so many different things you can do with a camera with a child when you put it in their hands on the autism spectrum. We were talking earlier this week about how sometimes a child, when you say, do this, it has to filter through so many things for them. But if you put the camera facing them, they can do it.
Yeah.
It's really remarkable. And these come from the Inspire program from Nabi, these 2 tablets that we're going to give away. So they're preloaded with 24 apps already that are great for autism. And the bumper, this feels sensory-wise, it feels it's a good shape. And the fact that, they're not going to break if you drop them. When you go to hand something else to a child, you have a fear.
Right.
And I know so many people who have handed other kinds of tablets to their children, and that becomes the child's way of communicating, and then when that gets broken, one case in particular where an aide dropped it, and the child was without technology for an extended period of time, right? That's not going to happen with these. These are amazing, and the price point is incredible.
The price point is completely doable for a lot of families who really struggle with having to buy other types of tablets that are more expensive. So that's the other part.
I just want to hug them for that, right?
I know. I mean, they get that. I mean, it's just really important for corporations to understand that they have the wherewithal to help these families. And I just hope that Nabi is, other corporations are watching, because I think there are several who have been, shall we say, philanthropically challenged. Other companies.
It's a really nice way of saying that.
Nice.
That was really polite of you.
But you know all the anger behind it. No, but I mean, it's philanthropically challenged in that there are some companies that if they gave out a tablet to every child with autism, they wouldn't even feel it on their bottom line. So this company, which is new, it's just starting, and they have an amazing new tablet coming out called the Dream Tab that they partner with DreamWorks. I mean, so Nabi gets it, that FUHU gets it, and we're going to make sure, as Autism Awareness Month comes up, that we give out our Gift of Voice to our Gift of Voice recipients more and more Nabis, as many as we can.
And you know what I always say, when a company is supporting us, we need to support them.
Right.
So definitely check them out. And if you're watching and you have older children and you think, okay, this looks a little bit too young, they have graduated ones. So they have ones that are more appropriate for teenagers and even going off to college. So go to Nabi and see amazing stuff. Now, I also wanted to mention, we've got a lot of people writing in questions, and there was one in particular here that we really wanted to address. How did Holly explain autism to her other children? I think that's a great question.
Yeah, well, it's funny because that's what led my daughter and I to write My Brother Charlie, because we wanted a book. We wanted a book in every library in the country, and My Brother Charlie does an excellent job explaining what autism is and taking the stigma away early from children's minds, because a lot of times the adults put in input in their brains about what autism is isn't always true. So we felt like My Brother Charlie was the way that we wanted to create for other people. But for us at home, like I said, I'm very honest with my kids, and I talk to them about autism, what it was. And you know, sometimes siblings, because they grow up with the sibling, they don't always necessarily see it as something. It's just like, that's how my brother is. That's just who he is. And one of my kids, one of my two younger boys, said, you know, I couldn't imagine, what if Roddy didn't have autism? Like, who would he be? Sometimes I wonder who he would be. And they say, we like him just the way he is. Because he's quirky, he's lovable, he's sweet, he's amazing. But I'm always very mindful to them, without putting too much pressure, that he needs a team, Team RJ. And when you have a team around your child, and we talked about this at another time, but when you have a team, when you're not there, God forbid, and it happens, you have this village for your kid who will know certain things about him. And I know that my daughter and my other two children are so protective of him, and they want to make sure that they protect him. And when he had this friends issue, they got right in this conversation, and they had their input, and they said, they're not really your friends. And so it's a family affair. But I would just say, be really honest. You'd be surprised how much young kids can handle. They can handle more, and I think, you know, there's an innocence we don't want to compromise, but for the most part, the more they know, the more they can help and be helpful. And they're going to find out anyway in other ways that you may not want them to.
Through somebody else's filter sometimes.
Exactly. So you can control that, and you can have an opportunity to see, how can you help your brother? How can you help your sister? What can you do? They're like little therapists, you know. They're in the mix, you know, and I feel really blessed to have this crew that is so supportive of their older brother.
I just want to run. We're talking about adopting. I want to get Jem's siblings, and it just makes me want to have more kids around him.
It does, you know. And I've had people say to me, "Well, you know, I've heard you say that you have this big kid, but we can't afford to have another kid, or this kid, one kid we have is too much, and it scares them for the future, because, you know." So you build, you know, friendships with other people, other families affected by autism. You have to just keep building and advocating.
Absolutely. Well, and you do that remarkably. We are going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to add something to the mix. Our good friend Nancy Alspaugh-Jackson is going to come in and be with us too, because we're going to be talking with Holly about the HollyRod Foundation and some things that they have going on there. It's a really remarkable organization that's doing some cutting edge things, and we want to know more about what's happening. So stick with us.
Our twins, Justin and Jessica, were premature babies, so we always were very conscientious of their development. But I think it was probably 15 months, Justin started getting really obsessive compulsive with opening and closing doors. And Justin started tantruming a lot too.
Get out! I will!
These would be major tantrums that were just completely debilitating to the family.
Having to take him out of the house, put him in the car, drive around, just to calm him down.
Yeah, I remember a breaking point and just thinking, you know what, we got to do something. This is not right. Once we were on the track to getting a diagnosis for autism, we started sharing that with our close friends and family. It just so happens that somebody from our older daughter's private school called us out of the blue. She introduced herself and she says, "I know that recovery is possible." Those words so early in our journey were a guiding force for us. As we got more educated in knowing what is effective therapies for kids with autism, we realized quality ABA is vital to that progress. That's where we decided that CARD was the right provider for us and for our son. Justin responded very well to therapy. The behaviors were tracked, and we saw that what was being instituted was working.
Justin, what are you doing?
I'm coloring.
You are coloring. Good for you.
There was real progress, and it was progress that was tangible.
I just remember when he He made a sentence. He said a sentence. We were just happy about it, going, no way, I can't believe you just did that.
What's the date? The 18th.
18th of what month?
December.
Oh, what year is it?
2007.
Oh, okay. So how old are you today then?
5.
The therapies that CARD did for Justin didn't just impact his daily living skills, but it was a positive impact on our entire family.
I'm Justin. I am in 4th grade. I like playing video games sometimes. My dream to build a teleporter machine. It's like sometimes if like we're on an airplane and it's like really long, you guys just say, oh, hurry up with that teleporter machine. We're waiting on you. And I just started Friday Night Lights. This is our 3rd game of the season, and it's pretty fun. You have to be fast.
We attribute so much of Justin's recovery to CARD. Their goal was the same as our goal. We wanted Justin recovered. June 12, 2008 is a day that I celebrate every year because that is the day that Justin was deemed recovered from autism. And Dr. Doreen Grandpichet met with us, looked at him and just said, he's brilliant. You need to keep his mind stimulated because he's very smart and he has no residual traits of autism.
Welcome back to this very special edition of Autism Live, and I've welcomed to join with us my better half, Nancy Alspaugh-Jackson. We do Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy, and I can't go very far without having her with me. I'm on a leash.
Well, I'm glad that you invited me in here to see our good friend Holly and hear about all the great work my girlfriend's up to.
Yes.
And well, I'm always happy to hang out with you guys, and you know we're all so like-minded, and we have so much in common. So it's just great to be here and hang out, and I'm glad we missed you. We needed our trio. We needed our Charlie's
We got it. It's the Autism Power Mom thing that I like to feed off.
Yeah,
That's right.
as we always say, we're all in this together.
That's right.
You know, we want to be the UN of autism.
That's
You know,
right.
a lot of people think that why there's so many organizations, but what I love is that we work together a lot. I mean, Act Today has worked with HollyRod on some events, and we all believe that we are the world, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And so we wanted to talk a little bit right now about the HollyRod Foundation.
Yes.
And for people who don't know, give them the Reader's Digest of how the HollyRod Foundation came about. Wasn't originally intended for autism.
Right. The elevator speech is that my dad got young onset Parkinson's. He was just in his mid-40s.
Your dad, who was on
My dad,
Sesame
who was
Street.
the original Gordon on Sesame Street. So if you're 30-something and over, you might remember him.
Yeah.
Not the bald guy who we love. Roscoe Orman's a great guy, and but the one with the big pork chop sideburns. He's the original Gordon. So when Oscar was orange. Okay.
Okay.
Before Oscar
We go
was
way
green.
back.
And you go way back. But anyway, amazing guy, and a guy. Parkinson's, and then ended up working and producing and writing the Cosby Show. You know, we all know how great that show was. And Bill Cosby, who was his childhood friend in Philadelphia, gave him this amazing job, even though the Parkinson's was just cutting him at the knees. It was just so awful. Remember, this is the 80s, no Google, no search engines.
Right.
So it was a tough time. No Muhammad Ali, no Michael J. Fox. So my husband comes to me and he says, you know, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Use that big mouth for good, not for evil. And
Go Rodney.
That's how our husbands do, right? And he said, listen, you really have a platform. We have a platform, so let's do this. So we started HollyRod for families affected by Parkinson's. Much later, when our son was diagnosed, we weren't ready right away after the diagnosis to have a conversation about our kid.
Right.
We didn't really start talking about him till he was 8.
Yeah, and in that case, Rodney was kind of the one you had to pull along.
I did. We had a family discussion about the greater good that we could do by having this conversation nationally, and like every conversation at home, I won. And it's just the way it goes. And
Now,
so,
all those years at the NFL didn't teach him to win.
no, I can take him down in a heartbeat. I sack that quarterback every time. The good news is that he did really understand how important it was to have this national conversation, and he saw immediately families that would come up to us saying, "Thank God." And Shannon said such nice things early on about how our experience helped her personally, and we would hear that more and more, and we're like, "Wow!"
Not only did Rodney come along, he became really a voice for so many dads out there. I tear up when I think about his book, Not My Son, right?
Yeah.
Not
my boy, not my boy. Yeah, and
yes,
that was a tough
thing
for him to do, but he knew he had to write that book because he really was struggling with the image of the kid that he thought he was going to have.
It's a tough one, especially for a pro athlete who probably expected a kid that would follow in his footsteps, right?
He thinks his kid's going to win the Heisman Trophy, and then we get a diagnosis that he'll never do A, B, C, and D. So that was tough, and he did come around, thank God, because I don't want to think about doing it without him, because I did need him. But a lot of people out there do, and so God bless them, because it really isn't difficult. So we didn't really fold autism into the HollyRod mission until our son was closer to about 6 or 7.
Right.
And then, and what we knew was we saw these other organizations working for research and a cure, but we thought, how do families get through the day-to-day lives? Like, the kid is here now, and they can't afford ABA or any other therapies, or they can't afford services, and so that's where HollyRod came in, where we wanted to help them in their day-to-day.
And it's an amazing organization, and we're just wondering, give us an update on some of the things, because I know you have a bunch of events coming up. Tell us what's going on.
Well, of course, April's coming, so we're all gearing up, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things that we're really excited about, some of our partnerships, Stella and Dot Jewelry, just a great organization. Last year partnered with us and made a tremendous donation, and this year we're repartnering again, and repartnering again. I think that's
partnering up again.
There you go. So we're back together again, and they have amazing jewelry that they sell, and they have this autism boutique. So if you go Stella and Dot, and they'll start that in April. And so there's that, and
now we know where to get our jewelry.
And you'll love this jewelry. I'm wearing, this is one of the necklaces.
And I'm looking at it. It's gorgeous.
It's light, and the price point.
Okay.
Right, so really great, and they're going to be selling a bracelet for us.
Stella and Dot.
Stella and Dot. So really amazing company. And then AT&T is a new partner, so we're going to be doing a campaign with them called Speak Hope, which is
I love that.
Yeah, right.
Speak Hope.
And they're going to help us with our Gift of Voice program, and we're going to give out more Nabis and other apps and just things that families need to get a hold of for technology reasons.
Yay, AT&T.
Yes, right? Shout out to AT&T. And then, of course, we spoke about FUHU. We're going to be partnering to do HollyRod events and My Brother Charlie events, carnivals for autism families.
Are you doing a big gala this year?
We are. We're going to do this design care like we always
which
do.
I love.
Yeah,
It's always so star-studded.
It's fun. It's really fun.
And you go and you see like Chris Rock and Samuel Jackson. She hangs with some pretty impressive people.
She sure does. And she knows how to motivate people,
when they see me coming, they're like, here she comes.
Yeah, we got to say yes.
We better go, or it's tough for the wrath of Holly for the rest of the year. Everywhere we run into
You got Donald Trump on your side.
Yeah, we've got some good people.
Your great hair guru, Wynn, right?
Yes. Chaz Dean, Wynn, another great partner. And so, got the organization, our events, a lot of stuff happening. But what's really, to me, most important is just like this, trying to get this national agenda moved forward. Like it's just, I'm just not seeing that. No. And we talked about that off the top of the show, but the state of autism is, we're in, and I don't like to say state of emergency, because I know a lot of people affected by autism feel like, we're saying you're an emergency, or it's not that. It's just the families that are struggling to take care of these kids.
Now, you and I know firsthand, I know with Autism Care and Treatment Today, with Act Today, because we give grants directly to the families as well for treatment and care, that with autism being a spectrum disorder, the families that are out there that have children with severe to moderate autism that are not getting the care and treatment they need, these children are going to really be the forgotten ones, right?
Right.
And we have to do something now. And it really does require all of the organizations and our government to say this is a crisis. It doesn't mean we negate those who are higher functioning, who who say respect us for our individuality and who we are, because I think we all agree we do. But I'm with you. This has got to demand, with 1 in 54 boys and 1 in 88 children, when are we going to wake up and say, hello, we need answers and we need policy on how to deal with this?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's a situation that is not, considering the prevalence that you just said, it's not getting enough attention.
No.
So I will try, HollyRod is not so much an advocacy organization, but wherever I can get in there and make a difference, I want to do that. And we would like to keep our focus on the families, but whether it's just, going to Washington or writing a letter or blogging, whatever it is, it's like, we just got to massage that.
We're so lucky to have Senator Steinberg as an advocate here in California, and as California goes, so leads the nation usually. But across the country, there's some very bleak situations. Where was it, Shannon?
South Dakota, that they just defeated the bill because the insurance companies were saying, well, we don't really see that it has that great of an effect on all of the kids.
Yeah, and Shannon,
so
I was like, you come to my house when Wyatt was having 10 tantrums a day and biting himself and scratching me and running away from home and those things. You will see what ABA has done for that child.
Well, I think we all agree there's work to be done. But I want to get to some questions that we had from some people coming in. One in particular, how do you handle people who think you're just overreacting and say it's not autism, just being a kid? Have you had somebody say that, I don't think your son has autism?
My in-laws, people very close to me would say that, and it's really because of ignorance. They don't understand it. There's a difference between a kid just sort of acting out and this disorder. And as moms and dads, we kind of know, even if we don't have experience with autism before, which I didn't, you just kind of know. So I think you have to push past people who are going to hold you back with their own ignorance or their own don't worry about it. Listen, my pediatrician, when he was 2 years old, said he's a boy and he's just gonna, he's got a twin sister, don't compare them. And I knew, and so the hard part is when you're struggling through this diagnosis and you have people saying that to you, it can be difficult.
Yeah, because you latch on to that hope too. You're like, oh great, well the pediatrician says no problem here.
Right. And so I say to that person, just move forward and in your own, take whatever you're feeling in your gut is right. It just ultimately is right.
I like the image of you pushing past. I love that image.
Move forward, move past it.
And then we also had a question about school. Do you have a good relationship with your children's school, and do you feel like you're heard? And I know that it's a very difficult situation here. Here we are, we're live, and maybe you don't want to say.
you look at my face. Here's what I will say. If you go to school and they don't roll their eyes when they see you coming, you're not doing your job.
All right. I'm doing a good job.
Yeah,
you're doing a good job.
Really good that job. Is the biggest thumbs up they can give you. It's you want to be that advocate, you want to be that squeaky wheel, and I've been that. So they don't always love seeing me come.
Right.
But I have been blessed to have some schools that have accepted my son into the mainstream community, and that has been so key to his development.
Is he at a public school?
He was at a public school for middle school, and that was a little bit challenging. But I did find a few. You got to find your cheerleaders and your angels, and you got to massage them. You really do. You got to find the people who really understand. And oftentimes, especially in public schools, they don't always have people qualified to deal with our kids, and so we have to be very, very careful. And we got to be there a lot. I feel like we've done okay. He's in a high school now where I feel comfortable, with his development and the teachers and the way they relate to him. But, it's tough out there for so many families, especially families that can't afford to go to private schools that are made for our kids.
Right.
That can be a real challenge. So when you're relying on an IEP and you're relying on, those meetings and other services, it can be such a paralyzing scenario for parents.
And a full-time job, and parents would have to make a living.
Right, and so you can't always be at school all the time. So if they call you up to come down there and you're on your job, that's not always an option. So again, much like the national agenda, just our educational system needs to come to this mix too.
I loved when you were on The Celebrity Apprentice, and I sat glued to the television the entire time. And there were some people who were giving you a hard time.
Yeah, just a
and some
little.
people that I wanted to put on some pointed shoes and go and kick them for you.
Right.
And I'm just saying. And
with pointed shoes.
But I loved at one point you said, and I don't know whether it was an interview or on the show, you said, you know what, they can dish it, but I've been to IEP meetings.
Okay.
I can't touch that.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's my Holly Robinson Peete.
Well, listen, that only works in this room, right? Like no one really knows. I have to explain what IEP is constantly, and your audience obviously knows, so I won't go down the line. And if you don't and you're watching, just Google it. But the reality is that, yeah, you're right. Trump's boardroom is nothing compared.
And that puts a goofy grin on my face every time I go to an IEP meeting. I just pretend I'm in Trump's boardroom.
There you go. Yeah.
But in any case, we're running out of time, and I wanted to ask you about how you do it all.
Yeah,
woman.
we want to know about that.
Well,
let's face it, Holly.
I am an actress.
Okay.
So I can act like I'm doing it all,
but stuff gets done
flawlessly, and I can never let them see you sweat. No, I'm a hot mommy mess most of the time.
Really?
I know I came here with my little lashes and my little hair done and everything, but I really, just like most moms, I struggle at home to try to balance everything. I've got 2 high schoolers. I've got these 2 little guys. One's about to go to middle school and elementary school, and then I do my nonprofit stuff, which I love, but it really does take a lot of energy, as you know.
Yeah.
And then I'm still working, and then I have to still bring in an income to the family. Right. So it's a lot. But every now and then, a ball drops, and then the world crumbles for a minute, and I pick myself back up, and I keep it moving. But I have my moments. For those of you who think that I am the one who just wakes up in the morning and the hair's done and it's all no, it is a struggle. It's a constant struggle. But what I just keep doing is keep moving forward. And I find myself talking to myself sometimes, and the kids will hear me and go, "Mom, who are you talking to?" I'm like, keep moving forward, keep going, just keep going. Okay, it's all good, keep going, keep going. So that's how I do it. I just keep telling myself that you're gonna have those days when the ball drops. Pick yourself back up, keep it moving.
Right. It's nice, I think, for parents out there to hear that you've got your bad times too, and that this is somewhat of an illusion, that you have to just pick yourself up,
smoke and mirrors,
put that face on, right?
It is. I mean, listen. Do I know that I do a lot, and have I been able to juggle a lot and achieve a lot? Yeah, and I do move it, but it comes with a price because you're constantly moving, and you don't give yourself enough time.
Do you replenish yourself, though?
Not as much as I should.
Okay. How do you do it when you do replenish yourself?
I go to a spa day.
Okay.
I mean, that pretty much does it.
Yeah.
What's funny is what I heard was, do you punish yourself? That's what my ear heard. I was like, punish yourself. Because I beat myself up all the time.
I beat myself up, too.
Okay.
But that's
we all do.
But that's the other key, you guys, is not beating yourself up.
Yeah.
And so you give yourself a break on those days when the balls drop.
Yeah.
And then you go, I'm going to have better, I've got another shot tomorrow. I'm going to pick up. Probably the thing that helps me, though, if you want something like practical advice, are lists.
Okay.
Before I go to sleep.
We talked about that yesterday.
Every night before I go to sleep, I write down 10 things I want to accomplish tomorrow.
Yeah.
Great.
10 things I need to accomplish in the next month.
Okay.
And so short term, long term, I don't always check them off.
Yeah.
But they're there.
They're there. And they're
well, if any of this is an illusion, I'm buying it. You're doing really well. And of course, we can be watching you on Access Hollywood. You came to us right from Access Hollywood.
Right, Access Hollywood Live, the live show that comes on before Access Hollywood in the daytime. I do a Friday segment, a plugged-in panel where I just, weigh in on stuff happening, stuff going on.
And I'm glad to see you on
But I'm
the
doing a development deal with NBC, so hopefully there'll be something else coming up.
How about a talk
You
show?
guys will know it.
Okay. We want a talk show.
Yeah.
And
From your mouth.
And
All right.
any time that you want to come back, we are here for you.
Awesome.
And the door is open. We are way past time. Emily's going to shoot me, but I want to say thank you to you for being here.
Thank you.
For everybody who was writing in, of course we didn't get to all of the questions, but I hope that many of you took the opportunity to write in and and give us on Twitter so that you can have a chance to win that Nabi. We'll thank also Nancy for being here.
I love being here with
And Shannon, send me some questions. If you send me some questions,
absolutely will.
I'll shoot them out.
Okay.
Answer them.
All right. I don't always have, when they come on the live feature, I don't have a way for you to talk back to them.
No,
I can figure it out.
I can hit them back.
All right. Okay.
On Twitter.
So we'll figure that out.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here, and thank you so much to all of you. We want to say thank you to Nabi for giving us those 2 tablets. We'll be in touch with you guys to let you know who won, and definitely tune in on Tuesday for Autism Live, and then Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy on Wednesday. Thank you all. Give your kiddos a hug from me,
and yourselves a hug from me.
Bye bye for now.
Bye.